Hello everyone. Let me see if I can move this a little bit. It's better like that. Oh, perfect. So, sorry about last week. And I promised here that I would share with you. Let me just bring my topic here today so I can have a cheat sheet. I have a new, deeper appreciation and compassion for all of you that have been through the ringer for years and years trying to figure out what's wrong with you before you even got to EBV. And I only had a mystery for 14 months. And, I did have EBV activation last fall, but I could take care of it within 2 days. That's fine. And then I reactivated again here in February maybe. And again, I knew exactly why EBV was turning on. And so, again, 24 hours and I got rid of my vertigo. But sometimes... even though I have helped thousands of people with their chronic, complicated medical mysteries, I could not figure out my own. It's because of the mold exposure, house after house after house. Things got murky. So mold is so much more insidious and harder to pinpoint. And even though I knew I had it, hold on a second, I'm going to bring up our topic here. I just couldn't figure out what else is going on, and I think there was mold contamination in a healthy toothpaste powder that I started about 14 months ago, and that created the contact dermatitis, severe allergy to toothpaste, and it looks exactly like my mold on my skin. So anyway, last week was really, really bad. Because I went back to that toothpaste after taking it out for a while because I had a hunch, and then I completely forgot, and I brought it back, and I was just so inflamed. It's healing here. So we decided I looked so awful that it wasn't really a good time to do that Wednesday talk together. So today I'm back. So last week I wanted to talk about spirituality because it is actually very important, the personal feelings about who you are and why you are on this planet. This can really open up healing for EBV as well, and it is related in unexpected way, but we will talk about it next week. I want to move on today with a fascinating topic of supplements, and my favorite of all time is selenium. And so let's talk about selenium. Let me know in the chat here later if you take selenium and how much you take. This is not a therapeutic Facebook group, but I'm curious if anyone actually is already on selenium because it's really worth it. Just wrote a blog about selenium with research and studies and references. So I'm going to post a link under this video, so if you are nerdy and you love science, you can see confirmation there. So I'm going to start with a big picture. The fact that selenium is depleted in our produce, it's depleted in the soil. That's where it comes from. And that's actually 500 million of people on this planet do not get enough, so they actually can manifest symptoms of deficiency, and many more people are kind of subclinically deficient. And so it has instrumental capacity in a couple of areas. Number one is EBV. It's a multitasker. It's pretty remarkable. Number two, cancer protection, actually. Number three, thyroid. And to the point where selenium alone can stabilize and decrease antibodies if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Why is that important? Because we have an epidemic of women with low thyroid function. So anybody has low thyroid function, you can put it, it's me, I have low thyroid function. You won't be surprised to see that a lot of women, even in our community, have history of low thyroid. And you are put on medication, and that's the end of it, and that's not what it often is. Because if you look at statistics and research, it's possible that 90% or so of all these women, or 90% of women in this community with low thyroid, it's actually not low thyroid by itself. It's an autoimmune thyroid called Hashimoto's thyroiditis. So it's the autoimmunity that drives the thyroid to start failing, with the function going down. And doctors are not looking this way, and they're not testing properly. So a lot of women fall through the cracks the same exactly way they do with EBV. Improper testing, lack of current knowledge on thyroid, and the list goes on. Exactly. So oftentimes in my practice, when I had a one-on-one practice, I had so many women with a combo of low thyroid, and sometimes I had to ask them, please retest with a doctor properly. And lo and behold, we found Hashimoto's. And so selenium is instrumental for your thyroid function, one way or the other, but also even for autoimmunity. Now, Hashimoto's can be produced by reactivated EBV. It can be some other pathogens like H. pylori, but oftentimes, or gluten even, but oftentimes the culprit is actually Epstein-Barr virus. Imagine that. Isn't that cool? So selenium is really like a one shop for a lot of things. Let me see if I can give you some juicy details from my blog here. Selenium deficiency is regarded as a major health problem for about half to 1 billion people worldwide, while an even larger number may consume less selenium than required for optimal protection against cancer, cardiovascular disease, and severe infectious diseases, including HIV disease. Of course, they don't mention EBV, but we know that. So, one of the things that selenium does so well for EBV is it's directly antiviral. It prevents replication, provides immune support, lots of things. And it supports magnesium, and in the sense also supports mitochondria. The big thing is, if you read my book, you probably heard the word or read the word NF-kappa-B. NF-kappa-B is a very inflammatory protein. We do have it, it does have some positive functions, but we have too much of it from poor diet. That's what can induce it. And the more NF-kappa-B you have, the more the virus can hijack it to replicate, basically. So it's like a vehicle for EBV to replicate. NF-kappa-B can be trimmed and downgraded very easily with spices, culinary herbs, supplements, like nutrients and diet. Very easy. So I have a whole chapter on that in the book. And we'll talk about it actually we have a write-up and discussion on that next weekend when we do transformational workshop. So we'll talk about NF-kappa-B. So it's very important to know about that. And interestingly, licorice inhibits NF-kappa-B as well. So you can increase NF-kappa-B by 150%. That's a lot for 2 hours with just one fast food meal. That's been documented in studies. Can you imagine that? So that becomes very important. Selenium also is instrumental for your liver function and your detoxification. So if you combine selenium and NAC, which we will talk about later, you have the opportunity to build your glutathione. And if you know anything about glutathione, it's the most important antioxidant inside your body that your body is supposed to make. So you need selenium as a building block to make it. I know people sometimes take supplements with glutathione. Glutathione is hard to tolerate, hard to absorb. Actually, the bioavailability is low. So I really like to use this and NAC as building blocks to make it. And so your normal detoxification from any toxins, including massive amounts of toxins from EBV, all these processes rely on building blocks to make glutathione, to clear that and to protect the liver. Selenium is very good for the liver as well. So you see, selenium has so many benefits. Let me see here. Research has shown that even as little as 200 micrograms selenium can decrease thyroid antibodies in Hashimoto's thyroiditis. See, thyroid has the highest concentration of selenium in the body, and it is the single most important nutrient in thyroid function. Selenium itself can lower thyroid antibodies. In fact, selenium deficiency may increase cellular damage of the thyroid and even set off autoimmunity. That is rare. So, in my blog, I talk about selenium dosages, selenium side effects if you overdo it, who should not use selenium, sign of selenium deficiency, all kinds of cool things like the fact that selenium decreases with age. And I discussed the food issues. When you have chronic EBV, you can't depend on selenium level in foods because it's not predictable. Even oyster or Brazil nuts. Oysters are contaminated with the heavy metals. You can't have oysters every day for therapeutic purposes, and Brazil nuts depend on soil. And so Brazil nuts, you don't know how much of the selenium, working selenium, you will get. So therapeutically, I would never just rely on these. Unfortunately, it's great when you're well, but when you have chronic EBV, you need therapeutic value, very predictable, the right form, and so on. So that's the training for today. Look forward to hearing some comments from you once you have a chance to watch this. And then enjoy the blog. And I will also list a link to our brand new supplement website with a direct link to selenium. So if you are not on it and you have EBV, I would strongly recommend that you give it a try and slowly play with the dose. You know, safety first, so you can discuss it with a pharmacist or your doctor to make sure that it's right for you. So anyway, that's it, you guys. Hi, Paula. So I'm just going to finish that. And right after I hop off, I'm going to post the link to the Selenium blog and the link to where you can get selenium that I would recommend. I'll see you next Wednesday. We'll talk about spirituality then for sure.